The Orion Factor's on tonight.
What's your daily routine like?
I wake up, smoke a bowl, fall asleep, wake up, smoke a bowl, go to work.
The New York Times calling for legalized marijuana all over the USA. But there's a hidden agenda here, and we will expose it tonight. Also, Waters in Newport, Rhode Island, asking folks to grade President Obama.
Give him a 5.
7. 2.
The idea that we can't assimilate these 8-year-old criminals with their teddy bears is preposterous.
Conservative George Will calling for all illegal alien children to be accepted by the USA. We'll debate Mr. Will's point of view.
As I've said many times, Israel has a right to defend itself against rocket and tunnel attacks from Hamas.
Also tonight, some people believe that President Obama is anti-Israel. We will present the facts. Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The great marijuana ruse. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Over the weekend, the New York Times called for the USA to legalize marijuana all over the place. No surprise that paper's far left on its editorial page, so its stance is predictable. But the real reason many liberals want to legalize pot is not to put another intoxicant in the marketplace, although they generally don't object to that. The real reason, the unspoken marijuana play, is contained in the Times editorial. Quote, "The social costs of marijuana laws are vast. The result is racist, falling disproportionately on young black men, ruining their lives and creating new generations of career criminals," unquote. There you have it. The left believes American law enforcement targets African Americans for drug prosecutions. Therefore, they want drug sales to be categorized as nonviolent offenses and marijuana to be legalized. It's about race, not drugs. Now some facts. According to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, about 5,000 criminals were sentenced for marijuana offenses in 2013 at the federal level. Almost 98% of them for sale. Average prison time, 41 months. And here's the kicker. 63% of those convicted on the federal level were Hispanic, just 11% black. The legalization of marijuana is still full of unintended consequences. Sends a signal to children that drug use is an acceptable part of life. That's big. The Times says marijuana is not a gateway drug, that it does not lead to other drug use. That is false. According to a recent study by the Yale School of Medicine, adolescents who use pot or alcohol are 3 times more likely to abuse hard drugs than children who do not use intoxicants. As for the poor precincts in America, does it make any sense at all to make intoxicants more available in those places? Drug use and sales have devastated poor neighborhoods in this country. Let's take New York City, for example. In 1990, there were 2,245 homicides in this town, an average of 6 per day. In 2013, there were 335 homicides. So what happened? Under Mayor Rudy Giuliani, the New York City police cracked down on open drug use and sales. And those convicted of selling drugs are given much harsher sentences by the state of New York. No one disputes the murder rate was driven by the drug trade, as gangs shot it out all over the city. But now the left wants to go soft on drug use and criminal sentencing. Apparently, the New York Times and others want to go back to the good old days where there were 6 murders daily in the nation's largest city. That's just insane. Drug use is a public menace. It helps no one. Same thing with alcoholism. Same thing with smoking tobacco. But you don't add to those problems by legalizing pot. That's stupid. What the authorities should do is decriminalize pot use. You want to do it in your house, not bother anyone? Fine. Go outside with a joint or a pipe, you pay a fine. A hefty one if I'm running the show. But sell marijuana, you go to jail. America used to have standards of behavior in public, but today they're collapsing all around us. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Joining us from Boston, Kevin Sabet, co-founder of Project SAM, Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Here in the studio, Stephen Gutwilling, Deputy Executive Director at the Drug Policy Alliance of California. And you say, Mr. Gutwilling, What do you say to my
well, first of all, I
points?
say that I'm thrilled to hear that you support decriminalizing marijuana. That's something that our other guest tonight is staunchly opposed to. It's not that far to go from the position that you just took, which is that we should basically not be chasing after the nearly 750,000 Americans that we arrest every year for possessing tiny amounts of pot for their personal use, to saying, well, what are we supposed to do about this enormous underground economy? Because, Bill, you yourself would rather have that existing gigantic marijuana economy in the hands of regulators instead of criminals who don't ask for ID, who don't test their pot, and who don't pay any taxes.
What I say to you is that I don't want the social message to go to America's children that this is an acceptable part of life.
Sure.
Because it damages children more than anyone.
Absolutely.
And the poor is second. It just devastates those neighborhoods.
And so the issue here is really, what is the message?
The message
how do you send the message?
The message is on the federal level.
The message of regulating marijuana is not that different.
I don't think the government has to get in the pot
explained.
business, and I think the states that do, Colorado and Washington, I'll be sorry. Now let's get over to our Boston guest, Mr. Sabet. You say?
Well, one thing we definitely don't want to do is legalize marijuana and create a massive new industry just like we have alcohol and tobacco. I mean, if we thought the tobacco industry was bad with the lies about the science, just wait for the marijuana industry. I would really like to ask the editors of the New York Times if they considered the stances of the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Society of Addiction Medicine, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, all oppose legalization and oppose this point of view.
Well, let me answer for the New York Times.
Maybe we have some agreement.
I'll be the New York Times, and you just asked me. I'll be the guy. Rosenthal is the head editorial director. All right. So you just asked me the question. Here's my answer. I'm not going to believe anything that goes against my ideology. Next question.
Yeah.
So you can present.
But do you want to create the
facts
next
all day long?
The Times editorial pages have been major supporters of marijuana prohibition.
Let Mr. Sabet wrap it up, and then I'll get to you. Well, all right, Mr. Sabet. Look, the left is basically saying harmless. Okay, which I don't agree with, and I think you don't agree with. It's not a harmless substance, all right? And you know, it's blacks. You know, you trap in the blacks because in certain ghetto neighborhoods, it's part of the culture. 9-year-old boys and girls are smoking it, and they don't like that. They don't want those kids to be targeted by the cops.
Well, here's the issue. I think actually, unfortunately, the far right and far left meet on this issue often to legalize marijuana for the wrong reasons. And as you said earlier, the last thing that poorer communities need is another substance. Actually, there are 8 times as many liquor stores in poor communities of color in this country. Why would we want to add another? Now,
let's get to Mr.
O'Reilly, I don't want to see people locked up either. We don't have to lock them up.
Let's get to Mr. Governor.
Yeah, that the New York Times' long history, this is a significant shift for them. I mean, they are now agreeing with most Americans that we need to control marijuana in a different way, which includes supermajorities of independents and Republicans under 40. The question is, who's going to control it, right? And this is not about, this is not about encouraging marijuana use, and it's certainly not about encouraging marijuana use among young people. It's about managing
the unintended consequence
Stephen,
of legalization.
Less than 8% of people smoke marijuana.
Wait. Let me challenge me. You guys are jumping in too quickly. This isn't Dayside. This is the factor, all right? Look, the unintended consequence of legalization of anything is to send a message to children that it's socially acceptable. I mean, any parent who would smoke marijuana in front of their child is abusing the child, in my opinion. And now you're going to have pot shops. You're going to buy it in 7-Eleven. It's insane. Go ahead.
We already have an enormous marijuana industry. It's currently controlled by drug trafficking organizations who cut people's heads off. But Stephen, that's less than 8% of people.
Wait, Mr.
Right, and so the issue is really is not how are we going to eliminate marijuana consumption. It's how we're going to manage the market that exists today.
I don't think it has to be managed any more than the criminal justice system should just deal with the sellers. All right, last word, Mr. Sabet, go.
I don't know why we would want to manage this for the less than 8% of people that smoke marijuana regularly.
I don't either.
If we legalize it, we're going to create another tobacco industry. They're going to continue to lie. And I think what people are finding out in Colorado, given all the damage there, is that legalization in practice is a lot uglier than legalization in theory. And they're finding that out already this year with the poisonings, with the deaths, etc.
All right, I got to go. It was a good debate, and we appreciate you guys coming on in. Next on the rundown, George Will says the USA should accept all illegal alien children. Very controversial, and we'll debate it. Later, Waters going up to Newport, Rhode Island to grade President Obama's overall performance with the folks. Factor's coming right back.